So hello, everyone, and welcome to the September 18th special council meeting for the Village of Lytton. I'd like to take a moment and remind everyone to please turn off your videos, mute your microphones, and allow council to begin the proceedings. Just to let you know, we're all being recorded and broadcasted on the Village of Lytton YouTube channel. If anyone is looking for a video recording of this meeting or a past meeting, you can go to the Village YouTube channel and watch it there. Thank you, Your Worship. You may call the meeting to order.
There we go. I've finally unmuted. All right, I call this meeting to order at 7:01. I want to begin by recognizing that we are holding a special council meeting tonight here in the Village of Lytton on the unceded traditional ancestral territory of the Epagaton people. We need a motion to adopt tonight's agenda. So moved. Thank you, Councillor McCann. Seconder, Toss. All those in favor? Carried. Now, the motion to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of September the 9th. Is a motion. Thank you, Councillor Michelle. Seconder, Toss. Were there any errors or omissions? All those in favor? Carried. All right, right down to delegations and presentations, and we are pleased tonight. We have Tanya Durant here visiting us with a presentation regarding the Lytton First Nation Emergency, or she's the Lytton First Nation Emergency Program Coordinator, just regarding lowering ladies. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, everybody. It's nice to see everyone. Hi, Peggy. That's just me. Oh, you do. Yeah, so as Denise mentioned, this is about the fuel management project that is being proposed for Loringway East. Just actually, before I start, I'll just hand out these maps because the map I have in the presentation is a little small. So, and that this just gives reference. Sorry. Okay, so if we could go to the next slide, please. So just before I get into the prescription for the actual polygon, I thought I'd give a little sort of brief update on the Cumcheen Fire Smart programming, because this is the funding that helps support the development of the prescription as well as the operational treatment. So we're currently in our second and final year of the Fire Smart program. Some highlights from year one, where we held 6 Fire Smart community information sessions. We purchased some event banners and posters. We supported 3 people in attending the Wildfire Resiliency Training Summit in Penticton. We held 11 Cumcheen Fire Smart collaborative meetings in 2024. We installed some non-combustible siding on the LFN Senior Center. So they removed the combustible and put non-combustible, which is a eligible activity under this program. Developed and launched the Fire Smart rebate program, completed the structure inventory data for LFN's community resiliency plan. And we also purchased a 20-foot cargo trailer and installed shelving for the community structure protection unit that is now being housed down at the temporary fire hall. So that was in 2024. Oh, and we completed the field work for the prescription. That was the first year. And now in our second year, moving into, basically the program had very similar activities in the first year as to the second year. We didn't complete some of the activities in the first year, so we're trying to get a few more of those completed in the second year. But we've now formed a Fire Smart Land and Building Policy Development Committee, their subcommittee, sorry. Purchased some event tents, tablecloths, and t-shirts. Continuing to complete home ignition zone assessments for elders and seniors. Purchased the phase 1 SPU equipment to be housed in the trailer. So that actually just arrived yesterday, which is a whole bunch of sprinklers and hoses and 3 pumps and fittings and all gas cans and all that kind of stuff. So Yeah, so if we continue on with the programming and are successful in future years, we can now apply for phase 2, 3, and 4 to get a fully stocked SBU trailers. Also reached out to a consultant to complete an analysis on Kittowit's water system to determine water needs for fire suppression. So this is also another eligible activity under the Fire Smart programming. So because we had equal amounts of funding in year 1 and year 2, we didn't complete this in year 1. So we now can complete 2 assessments basically in year 2. So we're still going to be pursuing Kittowitz, but we do have the funding to possibly include an assessment on Lytton Creek if that's something that the village would like to do. So, and year 2, we have the operational field treatments for polygon 1A, 1A LS13. So that's the AKA for the fuel, the East Loring fuel management. So that's good, just very sort of broad level highlights of year 2. Yep.
Sorry, something came over the screen.
Oh,
I will. It's okay.
oh,
Sorry about that.
oh, no worries. So yeah, this is going to, this slide is showing the map. So this is where the polygon is located. So it's basically up above Loring Way on the flats, sort of at the north end of what was treated in 2022 or 23. I can't even remember. So this is a municipal piece of land. And so on the map, you can kind of see some color coordination. So the blue is showing a riparian reserve zone, and then the yellows are some no work zones for rattlesnakes. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this just gives kind of context where it's at. And, so yeah, we'll go to the next slide, please. So this polygon is 7.41 hectares of gross treatment area. It's 5.0 net. The treatment is primarily on the flats up above Loring Way, but it does kind of come over onto that north slope coming down into Lytton Creek. Some of this area is a retreatment of the treatments we did do in 2009 and 10 under the, I think it was the JOP program or something.
Yeah.
So some of the highlights, I'm not going to go through the whole prescription. I do have it here if anybody wants to review the draft prescription. But a lot of it's like just some of the highlights are there was some slumping noted along the slopes above Lytton Creek, so on that north slope, but we did exclude those areas from treatment just so they aren't irritated and aggravated from this. The water treatment plant, intake location are all netted out of the treatment areas. So there's going to be no work in that area. There's also a 40-meter riparian reserve zone along Lytton Creek, so 20 meters on either side of the creek, which no treatments will occur in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the polygon is located in a critical habitat, so it's a federal mapping layer, critical habitat mapping layer for gopher snake and rattlesnakes. So that, due to due diligence, we needed to bring in specialists to have a look at the area to see if there's habitat and make sure that there's mitigation measures put in place if we're going to be impacting any potential habitat. So that's what the kind of gold color on the maps are. And these areas are basically talus slopes.
Yeah.
So he recommended exclude the talus slopes and 3 meters on either side, retain the brush. Just it's cover for them. So that's what those gold colors are there. So. Yeah, so that's that prescription. Then again, if anybody wants reference on you, I have the draft here. Yeah, so this is essentially done. It's still in draft. I did want to present it before it kind of goes out. Because it's on municipal land, I don't believe we need to go through the whole kind of full meal deal consultation, but we will send it out as a bit of a notification for stakeholders and organizations around. So I'm thinking 30-day-ish. We'll give a timeline of that. And if anybody has comments or sees anything wrong, like we'll incorporate those and make the changes in the prescription then, but I don't foresee anything sort of drastic come back. So So that'll be happening fairly shortly here. So. And then when that happens, we should probably really start looking at the operational treatments, because under this fund, we also have the funds to actually do the work. So the pruning, the piling, the burning. We budgeted 45,500 for the actual work that the crews do. So the pruning, thinning, burning. Does require, I'm assuming, a contract crew to do it. And they're also in the budget, there's a little over 10,000 for pre-treatment activities, authorizations, notification, the reporting, quality assurance, and administration, that kind of thing. So that's the budget for the operational treatments. This was actually based on a bigger hectarage, so it may even come under that. I'm not too sure. So just because we did net out a bit more area than originally anticipated when we did the budget. So. Estimating project start, I mean, late October, early November, hopefully. It is a pretty small area, so they should be able to get this done pretty lightly split. So the timing isn't really a huge issue, but it's nice for the crews if they can have, like we have burning conditions, but they have snow-free conditions, so their productivity stays up and stuff too for them as well too. So completion date March 31st or sooner, just obviously before the burning season comes off or whatever, like get into summer again. Yeah, exactly. And then doing this, we sort of roll along as well too, looking into the future. So we should probably look at reviewing the Village of Lytton's Community Welfare Protection and Recovery Plan that Bruce Blackwell completed in 2022. So they did recommend 2 areas for treatments, and one is down by Hobo Hollow, and the other is below the high school. But these are quite complex areas when it comes to jurisdictions. We just had this big whole conversation the other day. But those are the 2 areas that they did recommend in there. I mean, there's other areas as well too that I think probably could be looked at as well too. We did the treatments, I think it was back around the same time, 2009, 2010, between like the south end of Loring Way all the way to PSA.
Yeah.
And that critically needs a retreatment too.
Yeah.
And that's all on Crown land, which would be in basically the village's wild urban interface area as well too. So that would be another area that I think we should consider looking at doing a retreatment on as well too. So yeah, so in a nutshell, that's kind of
Great.
where we're at.
Questions? Thank you. Are there any questions?
Just have one.
Yeah.
I see that polygon goes above IR 17. So where's LFN in all this? Like what, like, do they have a say in what happens, doesn't happen above them, or is this just carrying on, or do they care, or I'm just kind of curious. Because if we're gonna be cleaning the forest out above their reserve, like they might, I don't know, they might want
They're going to be
know.
notified. They're going to be notified in the 30 days. It'll go to LFN and
Right?
Yeah.
And then they've got the opportunity there to say whatever they want to say. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Any other questions?
I've never heard that. Thank you. I've never heard that term prescription before. I'm a little new to the anything, but that means getting the brush cleared, like any fuel. Is that basically the approach? Like it's kind of like a work plan?
basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything for the CN tracks? Like are you involved with that? Like alongside the tracks up to the village?
No.
Okay. That was a quick answer. And easy. Is that a concern from where you're sitting?
Oh, absolutely. But again, it's jurisdictionally, it's challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's private land.
So my understanding from Councillor Lightfoot is that CN would reimburse us for fuel clearing in the past.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
something
correct?
that the village would work on. But as
Yeah.
far as this prescription that
Yeah.
we're talking about here today.
Yeah.
You said it's not a very big area. And I'm just trying to compare it to the kind of Loring Way Ponderosa, trying to get an idea of that. And you also mentioned talus sloping. So are there flat areas up there or is it all pretty much sloped?
No, there's flat.
There's a, okay, flat up there.
Yeah, so you can kind of see like where by plot 2 and 3 there, it gets kind of dark.
Yeah.
And then you come south and it gets really like it looks sparser. So where it's
Yeah.
more sparse, that's where it's flat.
Flatter,
And then where
okay.
it barrels over is the north slope. So
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is there lots of elk up in there?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But you don't have to worry about their habitat.
this is actually enhancing it.
Oh,
Is what?
It's enhancing it. Yeah. So we put a preamble in, or I used to anyways, about how it does enhance elk habitat. And we do in the prescription talk about like ungulate winter range and browse species. And so how these prescriptions either enhance or we mitigate for that or yeah. So that is addressed in here.
so it's similar to the ones that have happened before where they go so far up the tree and take the limbs down and. take it
Exactly the
out
same.
If it needs to, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
pretty clear picture what it would look like.
Are there any other questions? I'm looking up at the screen to see if Councillor Lightfoot has anything. No? Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, yeah, that's great. So
Excellent report.
we look forward to having that work done. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. So yeah, no, if there's any, like, anybody have any questions or, yeah, I get,
Sorry, I did have one. Actually, the assessment on Lytton Creek mentioned earlier, if we wanted it,
Mhm.
I think were your words, how would we follow up on that? Just asking our CAO then to back you or a motion in council?
sure.
Yeah.
Or I can just reach out and get
Yeah.
a proposal from them and then give it to you and.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Let's do that. And coordinate, we're doing some other work around Lytton Creeks, just we can coordinate everything together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And I guess just one question for the council too, like going back to the operational treatment, is there anything needed to kind of proceed with that? Like, are you fine with it or?
As far as the contract being,
Yeah, like we
Put
voted
out.
it, yeah.
like turn to our CEO for that answer.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything specific that we require, as long as council agrees it's a good use of the funding.
Yeah.
I'm sensing that that's what everybody's agreeing to. So just from a procurement perspective,
Mhm.
it's of a limit that doesn't concern us. If there's a contractor available to do the work.
Mhm.
Welcome to come in. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. That's great. Okay. Okay.
We had public there.
How are you coming to the meeting?
Okay, I don't have Jen's
Yeah, you
phone,
don't
I'm
have-
good.
So,
Okay, thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Thanks again. Perfect.
You bet.
All right. Okay, we'll move on to public comment related to the agenda, and I'll turn it back over to Corporate Officer Starchenko.
Thank you, Your Worship. So members of the public are now invited to comment on matters related to the agenda. If you would like to speak, please use the raise hand function on Zoom. You can find that by clicking on React at the bottom of your screen and then clicking raise hand. When it's your turn, I'll read your name. You'll be asked to unmute yourself. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to please state and spell your name, say your address, and the agenda item number that you're speaking to. If anyone would like to speak, please use the raise hand function now. All right, I'll call for a second time. So if anyone would like to speak, please use the raise hand function now. I'm seeing no one online, Your Worship. Is there anyone at Parish Hall?
No, there's no one here this evening.
All right, so thank you. That completes the public comment portion of the meeting. So back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you. We will move on to staff reports and presentations. And we have item number 8.1, which is capital projects update. And we have our CAO Montbriquet. We have CAO Montbriquet here this evening with us. So
Thank you,
Turn over
Mayor
to you.
O'Connor. Good evening, everybody. This is our monthly update on the capital projects. And so it hasn't been very long since our last meeting that we did, that we had an update, but there's been quite a bit of things have happened, and some things have happened even since I wrote this last week. So I'll give the updates as we go along. But with the community hub, we have put the RFP out for the design build of the pool. It was posted in August for 3 weeks, intended to close on September 19th, which is tomorrow. We actually received requests from pretty much we requested the proponents register with us, and through that process, every single one of them has asked that we could extend the timeline.
Oh, wow.
So we've extended it to October the 1st for the due date of those proposals. So we'll be another week or so till we know how those come in, but we have had quite a bit of interest. So that's positive. We did have our community engagement at the Village Open House that we held on August 30th at the new Public Works building. So the architects, O4A Architecture, were here. They had a little bit of an interactive display set up so that they were able to gather input from the people that went there. So we have that aspect. And then we're just about to embark on some engagement sessions in some of the interclassic communities, so that our engagement manager, Hanny Jones, has developed a session that she's going to take into the communities, and working with the project advisory committee members to schedule those sessions at times and dates and formats that the members advise, might be successful for getting people to come out. We're intending to do those sort of, maybe some in September, but mostly in early October. Once all that feedback has been received, we'll be compiling that and bringing it back so people can hear, what's been shared. But we didn't want to bring it in pieces. We'll just bring it all together just to make it more efficient. So, and the architects will be participating with her in those engagement sessions, but the village staff won't be. We're going to leave it to the professionals to do the work. Kind of the next steps on the community hub are we've got a draft communication plan. We're finalizing that. And, once the engagement's complete, bringing that information back. So on the fire hall, we are, we're just sort of in the GICB funding process there. As that is working its way through the system, we are continuing to look at opportunities for partners to co-locate in the facility. We're going to do a traffic study of the area up on Highway 1, adjacent to the proposed lot, to see if there's a better access egress than maybe we had originally thought. And then once we get that approval come through, we'll be starting with consultation and working with community partners on what's going to be included in that facility. In terms of the village office at 380 Main Street, we have received and reviewed the 75% construction drawings from the architect. So that's coming along. We're anticipating the 90% drawings by the end of September. When we have those that are approved, and council will have an opportunity to give input to that set. We haven't involved at every stage, but that input that opportunity will come. We will then be in a position to put out a tender for a contractor, so that we'll be able to tender that work and get that rolling. Now, I don't want to make that sound like it's going to be September 30th we get it and tender goes out October 1st, because we're going to need to see what the costing is and maybe make some changes, and but we are moving along in that process. So that's very encouraging. Public Works building, of course, is substantially complete. We had our ribbon cutting and our grand opening of that. There was some mechanical equipment that was on kind of back order. I believe it's arrived because they're working down there now. So I believe they're putting in those last pieces. And Brian was actually coordinating the installation of the propane tank. And so the propane tank is there now. We just need to connect it. So, we're getting very, very close to the Public Works Department being able to move into their new facility. So that's pretty exciting. On the water upgrades, we had the big project happening up at we called East of Main Water. There's a number of pipes and whatnot replaced up there. The contractor has to return to the site just to do some testing of the system, but the work is substantially complete. They just had to go off to do another job that they had scheduled. So they'll be back in October to finish that. We're investigating a potential blockage or constriction that has been was included in our water report, potentially below the 265 water reservoir. So potentially it could be restricting the flow of water down into the village. So we need to understand what's going on there. So we're just working through a project plan and working with some contractors to see how we can best investigate before we kind of launch into, you know, a recommendation of what needs to be done and the contractors and whatnot. So, and I have on here definitively that we have hired the contractor for the well number one, but that's not happening till later on the agenda tonight. I apologize for that. I was ahead of myself on that one. So, you know, so the next steps on the water side is once we figure out what's happening with this 265 reservoir, it might be a small problem. It could be a big problem. And so we need to understand, you know, what's happening there. And this is an area of the system that we don't have very good records on. So we need to actually go in and look at it and investigate for ourselves. So once that's determined, then we'll be in a position to move on with planning the remainder. I mean, we could, you know, we have water mains all over the village that could be replaced if we have the funding. So we're going to wait and kind of try to deal with that one big problem first, and then come with the other recommendations. And we've been working on the request for qualifications for contractors. So still planning to move forward with that. And finally, on the sewer upgrades, True Consulting has actually completed the design of the sewer replacement on First and down the laneway from Third. So our municipal engineer, Daryl Lexani, and our contract manager, Jim Rowe, are just finalizing that proposed design with them. And then we'll be looking for contractors and bringing it to council and all those next steps. And the wastewater treatment capacity study is underway. So, and again, we did receive in terms of next steps, we have to complete the SCADA system upgrade. We've received that proposal now. That will likely come to a future council meeting for approval for that contract. And we have also completed the terms of reference now for the redesign of the sewer system along West Lane, up Fraser, that whole portion of the system, which is a very large replacement for us. So those are my comments.
Are there any questions? Council or comments?
Those comments,
Councillor Thomas?
Mayor O'Connor, your comments represent a lot of work.
Mhm.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Again, a great report, and it's just truly appreciate the keeping updated with all of this through these monthly reports. Okay, if there are no other questions, we will move on to the next item, which is our Chief Financial Officer. I apologize. We do need a motion to receive this report for information. Thank you very much. And that would be Councillor Lightfoot, and the seconder, Councillor Michelle. All those in favor? Carried. Now on to 8.2.1, Chief Financial Officer, the monthly reporting regarding our contribution agreement.
So this is our monthly report for authorization to submit our claim to Emergency Management BC for reimbursement of expenses under our $17.6 million recovery grant. We have the 4 separate sections that are outlined in the report, and the contractors listed where we had costs incurred in August, and we'll be submitting this for reimbursement. So, the total reimbursement is $325,000. Of course, the costs are starting to get a little bit higher because things like the Public Works building, are more significant. I did want to address one question that I received at the last time I did this report, and I didn't have the answer at my fingertips. Councillor Toss asked me what LFN Economic Development admin fee was, and I just wanted to report back on that. So when we initially had started the backfilling, we were paying an actual admin fee to LFN Economic Development because they were coordinating everything for us. We don't do that anymore. What we currently are paying LFN Economic Development for is to purchase the fill. So I removed the words admin fee because it isn't admin fee.
Gotcha.
And when you asked me that last month, I was thinking, we buy the fill for them, but why is it called admin fee? And I was just like, I didn't want to answer on the spot. So I just wanted to confirm that that's what that was for.
Okay. So are there any questions regarding this report? Again, appreciate these monthly reports. Yeah. Okay, so then we need a motion to receive this report for, no, we don't. We need to, yes, we do need to approve the report as presented and have it submitted. So we have a recommended motion. All those in favor?
Sure.
Thank you, Councillor Can, seconder. I'm all mixed up with my words tonight. Councillor Lightfoot, seconder. No further questions or comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Now moving on to the 2026 permissive tax exemptions.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. This is a report just outlining a bylaw that's further down on the agenda for first three readings. So this is an annual process that we go through to provide a permissive tax exemption to, there's really only 3 properties now in Lytton where we do this. You may remember initially, like a number of years ago, our permissive tax exemption bylaw would list 15 properties, but most of those were statutory exemptions and we don't have a choice one way or the other. They're provided by the province. So what we've done is we've removed those from our bylaw just to make it really clear what we're talking about. So, you know, at this time, the remaining properties that are eligible are the Royal Canadian Legion for their property on 4th Street, the Anglican Church for the church property, and the Anglican Church for the parish hall. And I did confirm with BC Assessment. So the way that it works with a place of worship is that the BC Assessment provides a statutory exemption for the land that the church is on. And then we provide a permissive tax exemption for the remainder of the property around the church. So, for example, with the Anglican Church, they already have a statutory exemption for the churches, and then we provide it for, I think it's about 40% of the property. So so the statutory exemption needs to exist for us to attach our permissive tax exemption to it. Right, in the case of a place of worship, that's how it's worded in the community charter. So in the past number of years since the fire, we were able to give a permissive tax exemption to the Roman Catholic Church for their property on Fraser Street. BC Assessment let me know that they generally, in the case where the property is destroyed, they generally give them a couple of years grace to rebuild the place of worship. But when they haven't, they're no longer eligible for a statutory exemption or a permissive exemption. So I'm just explaining that because they used to be on the list and they're not on the list, and that's why. Final thing I'll say is that council does have the opportunity to provide this permissive tax exemption for up to 10 years. We have been doing them on an annual basis, and I recommend that we do this particularly for one more year, because as you know, we are working on a consolidation and a subdivision plan for the property that's owned by the Anglican Church. So next year's exemption is going to look a little different. So let's just bring them all back next year. And then, you know, if we want to do it for 10 years at that time, it'll be a little bit, it'll be clear, right? And that's the risk of doing a longer term one. If something changes, you might not get it updated in your permissive tax exemption.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so.
Okay, questions, comments? Councillor Toss?
Maybe a stupid question. I apologize. Fraser Basin Property Society. I know we had the Fraser Basin Society come and visit council at the beginning of our tenure. What properties are those?
Those are the Anglican Church.
Oh, okay.
That's
I did not
the
realize.
entity that owns them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
Which I think is probably different than the Fraser Basin Council.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting that
Yeah.
confused. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing. So
If they were affiliated, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Looking up on the screen and nothing. Okay, this makes total sense. So we have a motion to receive this report for information.
Also move.
Thank you, Councillor McCann, seconder.
I'll second that.
Toss, and all those in favor? Carried. Good. All right, we'll move on to Public Works, and we have Brian here today, I believe, to speak to this, or
I think Daryl, is Daryl?
oh, is Daryl on?
I can't see.
Yes, Daryl's here.
Yes,
Only the people who have their video on can we see.
there we go.
That's why. Okay, okay. All right, so we have regarding the contract award. And well, number one, so that we
Not to presuppose what's going to happen.
that you gave earlier accurate. Okay, Daryl, go ahead.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and guests. Yeah, tonight we'd like to get approval to award a contract for the assessment of well number one. As we discussed at previous meeting, well number one, the controls were burnt up in 2021 and it hasn't been operational since. And we need a third water supply to provide adequate capacity when we don't have enough supply in Lytton Creek, or we have to switch to wells during the high turbidity seasons during freshets in the spring. So we've received, or we've requested and we've received two proposals from qualified hydrogeologists to assess the wells. So the scope of work would be to do some testing, assess the water quality, assess the well yield, and also assess the current construction of the well and determine if it's feasible to reconfigure the wellhead protection, and so forth to bring that well back online. In addition to assessing well one, we've also asked for an assessment, a desktop assessment to look at if we need to drill another well, if perhaps it's not feasible to reconnect to well number one. We would like to know whereabouts we would be looking for another well supply. In that regard, yeah, we received two qualified proposals. The most cost-effective was Cala Geoscience. So I'd like to seek council approval to proceed with that work.
Okay, thank you. Are there any, well, let's put the motion forward. The motion is to, two-part motion to contract to Cala Geoscience and then to have the contract move forward. Who would like to put that motion forward?
Only.
Thank you, Councillor Michelle. Seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor McCann. Now, are there any comments or questions regarding this? Councillor McCann?
I'm kind of curious. I got thinking the same thing. So if the worst case scenario comes about and they say, no, you got a waste of time here on this well and you got to try something somewhere else. How do you know? Like we talked, you know, like the assessment will come back and it will say, try this site here, and we predict that you would have a possibility. Like, is it like nearby, or it just roaming around the village looking for a good spot for a well? I can't picture how you would do that.
The process they follow, typically they will look at geologic maps. They'll look at provincial aquifer mapping, and they'll assess the various areas. Typically, when you're re-drilling, and it's very risky to be drilling wells, so it's costly and risky. So you can drill in one spot and get great water. You can drill, 4 feet away and get nothing. So it is very risky to be re-drilling a well. So if at all possible, we would like to reconnect to well number one, because that's probably our safest bet if the water quality is still of good quality and the quantity is suitable. So we would like to, if at all possible, reconnect to well number one. So yeah, they do an assessment, it's called a desktop assessment, to look at the geologic mapping and just assess where the best opportunities are. Typically, you want to find a spot that's going to, provide you with similar water quality, because say if you go further up the mountain, you could get into like a more of a bedrock well, which typically you start getting into potentially worse water chemistry, perhaps different treatment requirements. So you have to proceed very cautiously. And so, yeah, again, we would like to proceed on the basis that we would like to reconnect to well number one, but we, just in case that isn't feasible. And right now I'm thinking, providing we can, bring the well up above ground, get, a suitable wellhead protection and proper pitless adapter and so forth, that it should be feasible, but you just don't want to be going down that road with no other options. So that's why we want to look at a desktop assessment to where we'd look at it and what the costs would be as well. So.
Yeah. No, thanks, Joe.
Are there any other comments or questions? CAO Member Cat?
I just wanted to add to that, and my understanding is as well, if you're looking for a new well, it's a very long timeline. There's a lot of authorizations and permits required to do that, and it can be very costly.
Yeah.
So we're really hoping that well number one is an option that maybe with some, maybe some adjustment to the way it's currently there and how it was accessed historically might need to be improved. But it would have to be not eligible before we would recommend moving on.
Yeah. Councillor Lightfoot, did you have a comment, question?
I did, because well one used to serve the community well, and the issue became that some of the mechanicals were starting to fail, but I think the chamber being a confined space was what really stopped the village from using it. So I'm hoping that, Diane made a good point, $20,000 isn't very much money. If for $20,000 we can assess the quality of water and the flow, then I think that hopefully that will assure us that it's worth putting the chamber above ground and move ahead with the plans. So I'm got my fingers crossed on this one. Like I said, it was a very reliable source of water in the past, and I hope it has not changed. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question then. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Carried. Great. Well, we look forward to hearing the results of that, and let's hope positive.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to 3.2 backfill update, and this would be Brian.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Do we have a PowerPoint to go along? There we are.
Let's put that up. So I'm a little bit early, but the schedule for September allows for this meeting tonight for the PowerPoint presentation and a verbal report as to where we're at with backfill. At the end of the month, this program, as the month comes to an end, so does the backfill program. Started back in 2022 to clean up the properties affected by the 2021 wildfires. Attached are some photos before and after. While not everything may be the way it was remembered, staff will continue to work with property owners to assist in any way that we can. So the photos beside there was kind of back in 2022. This is one of the properties that was cleaned up on Main Street. You can see on the left, there's some debris. On the right, we've got a clean site removed of all pre-fire debris. Next slide. These properties are in Zone 7, which have just been done this week. The one on the right is what we've been looking at for the last 2-3 years. The one on the left is what we've been looking at. The one on the right is what we currently have today, which is much cleaner and a bit nicer to look at. Next slide. This is another challenging property on Main Street where some foundation walls were still remaining on the slope. We had to do some geotechnical work to figure out a safe way of bringing them down. And the photo on the right shows what the end result was. There has been some challenges through Zone 1 to 7. We've done our best to clean up properties as we go through the process, but what you can see is sometimes you find things that are unknown, right? So we actually installed an IC box on a property, and the contractor found another concrete box merely a foot away from where we were. So sometimes you never know what you're going to find when you start digging. And at the end of September, the backfill program will end. Findings and dealings with so many unknowns has been challenging. Every effort has been made to meet the needs of all residents. The village staff will continue to address ongoing challenges and will continue to progress and move forward. And now you see the picture on the right, which is much nicer, no blue fencing, holes are filled. Of course, there's always more to do, but the effort is just to keep moving forward with the process. And that's about it. If there's any questions?
Thank you. So you anticipate that there's a little bit more to do, but it'll all be done by the end of September?
I still got a couple weeks yet.
You do. It is quite impressive, as you said, to look outside here and see the work that's been done
Yeah.
and the difference. You know, it's one thing now to see it backfilled and ready. And I guess the important part is now it's ready for property owners to do what they need to do.
To next steps, which, you know, is working with Public Works on, you know, development needs for water and sewer, working with planning on your building needs and moving forward.
Great, thank you. CIO Mom.
I'd just like to add to this, Mayor O'Connor. I mean, Brian deserves like an extreme gratitude for all the hard work, because there were some very challenging situations here and really just like technically difficult to figure out how to do, and trying to work with the owners to give them something they were happy with. So thank you, Brian, for all of your perseverance to get through these ones, because he ended up with the tough ones at the end.
Yeah.
And he's done an incredible job.
That's good, thank you. Councillor Toss.
And diplomacy with residents. Thank you.
There you go.
Are there any questions or comments from Councillor McCann?
I'm just really curious, how much gravel went you? Oh my gosh.
So
That's a
So like I said, there is a couple of weeks left in September, and, you know, we'll be coming back in October with kind of a follow-up on whatever unknowns I might find in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, but we are on target to meet the end of September schedule.
Good. I appreciate that we had that deadline. You know, I think it's really important. It's probably helped to keep things moving and to let the property owners know as well that it's really important that we keep things moving. So
Yeah,
totally understand that if it goes into October, that is perfectly fine. So if there are no other comments or questions, we will have a motion, please, to accept this report for information.
So moved.
Thank you. And seconder?
Awesome.
Thank you, Councillor Toss and McCann. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Frozen.
It's frozen, but she'll be back.
But look in her eye says.
She'll be back. Okay, we will move on to item 9, which is bylaws. And we do have the permissive tax exemption bylaw 773/2025. And the motion is looking to, the recommended motion is looking to giving it the first 3 readings. And so can I have someone move?
I'll make that motion.
Councillor McCann, seconder. I'll second. Thank you, Councillor Michelle. Are there any further comments or questions regarding this bylaw?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Great. Verbal reports. We'll move on. So at the last meeting, I joined by Zoom, of course, and I want to thank Councillor Lightfoot, who was the acting mayor for the month of September, actually, to take over that meeting and running it so smoothly. So thank you for that. It was really interesting to see the meeting from, I guess, from the other side, so to speak. It was great. I was away, and when I arrived home Friday night, I found out that Minister of Forest was coming to Lytton on Saturday morning. Actually, he provided one time, and then at 11 o'clock, and then he said, no, make it at 9:30. So I made it. So I met with Minister of Forest here for a very short time. He was kind of passing through, toured him around the village. We mainly spoke about archaeology, because that is ministry. And talked a bit about the new Heritage Conservation Act that's being revised and coming forward. So that was great that he reached out. Yesterday morning, I attended a Gold Country meeting. I'm on that board, as you know. And I just want to remind everyone about the voting for excellence in Gold Country. There are more local Lytton businesses, organizations represented in that survey this year than there were last year. And go on and vote. You can vote right till October the 1st, and you can vote multiple times. So please do that. It'd be great to have a few, like last year though, a few from Lytton here win awards. And then of course, yesterday afternoon, I attended a RCMP session here along with some of you. It was really nice to hear the announcement that we have a sergeant here posted in the village. We no longer are sharing with Lillooet, and it is Mike Fillion. He has been promoted to that position. And it was great to hear from him and just sort of learn a little bit about what he's thinking about running the detachment here and making sure that we have the service that we need. Something I learned was that we have once we're fully staffed here, there'll be 6 members. He's recruiting right now for the 6th person. And yeah, it was just really, really good to hear that announcement. Yeah, and that's it for my report. So I'll move on to Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I too attended the RCMP get together yesterday, introducing our new commander. And other than that, I have nothing to report. General thanks to staff, as always.
Thank you, Councillor McCann.
Still typing. I wanted to talk about the Highland Valley. So thank you, Mayor O'Connor. Yes, it hasn't been a long time, but there's managed to slide a couple of pretty cool things in there. So when the mayor was gone, I was asked to attend the Highland Valley Copper Tech media event on the 11th of September. And so I did that. And I also made it to coffee. And then yesterday there were 2 meetings. There was the Fire Smart meeting. So it was nice to see Tanya yesterday and then again today. And the RCMP special event. And at Highland Valley, the first thing that was very cool for me was seeing someone I knew, like someone that I had taught and said, you got to get this job. And to see them actually working there, like a young Indigenous mother girl that I had taught school, like just so happy to be working there. And I thought, oh, this is so cool. Like, sure. But then the person of the moment, of course, wasn't Shannon. It was Premier Evie. And so it was really interesting for me to be around a media event and to see all of the kerfuffle that happens around a media event. And no, I did not go to have my picture taken with Mr. Evie, but I did take his picture, and anyone wants it, I have the picture. The Premier speaking to everyone. And then it was when I had to drive from there to the TNRD meeting, it was funny to be listening to the CBC radio and hearing the Premier say what I had just heard the Premier say. That was kind of something I hadn't done before, so that was interesting. So I found that yesterday's session with the RCMP was quite encouraging. I was happy to hear that the new sergeant is somebody that we know and that he wants to work with the village and the Indigenous people to take the next steps together in our community and see things move along. So I was very encouraged by that. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Councillor Michelle.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Lightfoot.
I hope I come through. You've been freezing, and I'm not sure if I'm freezing on your end or not, but so this week was a fairly busy week. Coffee on Monday. I attended a NDIT Zoom meeting on Tuesday, and the same as well on Wednesday, Fire Smart and the RCMP meeting. So I guess we're gearing up for next week.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you. All right. We will move on to item number 11, which is other business notice of motion. And I am going to turn it over to Councillor Toss. Your notice of motions.
Sure. I'll begin with the archaeology grant access notice of motion, which I brought forward in our last meeting, I think September 8th, was it? Either way. So this is, as I mentioned in our last meeting, to encourage development within the village. So, and the turning over of lots, should they come up for sale, as I've heard and documented from a real estate agent that had a property here listed in town. He had many inquiries, but they were turned off by the uncertainty of the archaeology. And it's my feeling that $20,000 per property is not going to significantly impact our overall budget, our bottom line, and it could have a very positive outcome in terms of people investing in the village, because people are, without a doubt, it's undisputed, scared of the archaeology. So I think by extending this program, we are going to encourage economic development in the village, which I think is so crucial at this juncture.
So are you putting a motion forward?
I am putting the motion forward that council directs staff to request an amendment from EMCR of the archaeology grant criteria to cover $20,000 of archaeology costs for all property owners in Lytton.
Thank you. A seconder? Thank you, Councillor Michelle. Are there any discussion regarding this, this motion?
Question.
Councillor McCann?
My question is, how much staff time would be required and what do we expect would be the result? So there were criteria that were attached to this funding to begin with from the MCR. So my understanding is then that you're asking for CAO, for example, to reach out to EMCR and to put this proposal forward, that this be something that would carry on forever, would carry on as long as the money, is there a standard, is there amount of money that's going to be a finite amount of money? Is there amount of time that's a finite amount of time? So those are my questions. And then my main question is, how much time will staff have to deal with this, like to spend on this? Are they going to need a lot of time? It sounds like a relatively complicated thing that we are asking. It's not really straightforward because, you know, the first thing they're going to say is no. So you got to come back with all of the reasons why this is worth doing, and all of the questions need to be answered. So to me, that seems like it would take quite a bit of staff time just to kind of flesh it out and to clarify and to then finish the process that you're asking for here. Like on paper, it sounds like a great idea, of course, but I can see a lot more complexity to it than just give everybody
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Councillor Lightfoot?
Whoops. Am I here? Sorry. I don't feel that I can support this motion. It's too vague. You know, if every property in town gets $20,000, there's no criteria. There's no criteria set up with it. I might consider it if it said there was a building permit.
That is the criteria.
But even then, it's not within the motion, so the criteria is not in the motion, so I can't support the motion. It's too general, it's too vague. And also, that money is not our money. It's outside of our jurisdiction. That money has to be authorized by the province. And as in all of these things that we're doing, there needs to be an end date so that it doesn't drag on for eternity. I guess my biggest fear is that if we just say $20,000 per property and there's no criteria, what's to prevent someone from just flipping property and actually not investing in the community, but just using it as an opportunity to increase the sale value, but have no.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were finished.
No, that's good. That's
okay.
good.
Councillor Charles.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments from Councillor Lightfoot and Councillor McCann. It's my feeling that staff time is well spent on this, considering we are spending up to $100,000 a month on staffing, and this could be a really crucial
factor in moving forward. As to Councillor Lightfoot's comments, my intention with this motion written as is was that the archaeology grant criteria be extended. So those same criteria would apply for these individuals, these property owners that apply currently to burnouts. So it would be the criteria would be you'd have a building permit in place before you would be able to apply. So it would not, and again, with the time constraints. So I believe there's an end date for our 20,000 for burnouts, which would then apply to if we were to accept and extend this grant. And CIO.
Thank you, CAO Member Kent.
So I just wanted to offer a couple pieces of information for council's consideration. When we extended the program at the end of June, we extended it to December 31st, 2025. So that's currently the end date for the archaeology program. At that time, we had paid out $128,000 in grants to people. I'm sorry, I don't have an updated number on that. We haven't paid out a lot since then. That captured the bulk, but there have been some additional ones, partially because of late billing on behalf of some of our archaeologists. But so you know, that's around the number. You know, we're probably maybe, you know, we're not over 150 right now, just as a point of reference. I think to Councillor Toss's point, one of the criteria, so of the archaeology grant criteria that was initially put in place by EMCR, it was all of the criteria in our building permit reduction program plus, and then they added a few things to it. One of the criteria in the building permit reduction program is that the owners are rebuilding on property that they owned on June 30th of 2021. So I would suggest that potentially what Councillor Toss is looking for is to have that criteria changed, which then flows down, not for the building permit program, but for the archaeology, because it's part of the archaeology program. Is that
correct.
accurate?
That would be great.
And then otherwise, all criteria stays the same. Okay.
Okay, is there any other comments,
Questions?
So if that were to be the case, would the wording need to be changed, or that that encompasses what you've just spoken about? So like that trickle down kind of, is there any need to make that more clear in the motion?
Maybe I'll speak to that because I was going to comment a couple of things. First of all, I don't know that we have any data that archaeology is deterring people from, other than maybe one. We've heard from one realtor who has commented. Like, I don't know the reason why people aren't, the people that have purchased properties are not rebuilding or not building, I should say. I don't know that. That's just my feeling. And I don't think that the wording of this motion reflects, like when I read it, I didn't understand that it was supposed to reflect the previous criteria.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, you know, somebody coming along and reading that and not knowing the background might not know that either. So I can't support this motion the way it's worded. Councillor McCann?
Well, with the December 25th deadline,
2025.
and when I look outside the window and what I can see, I'm not sure how many people are going to be affected. Were we to do what everyone is suggesting, change the wording, make it fit better for the purposes that you're asking for. But basically what you're asking for is from now until December for anyone who wants to start building and doing the archaeology to get a $20,000 grant. I can't see a whole bunch of people benefiting from that, maybe one or two. Maybe if somebody had a plan, like to building a permit in place right now and was ready to get going, because unless they're returning, they're still going to qualify, but they won't qualify after December 25th, no matter who they are, will they? Is that my understanding? Unless we extend that, and I don't know that we can do that. That's not able right now. So Charles.
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I'm hoping that we would extend this, or at least bring that to the table in December 2025, because it has been
advantageous for property owners, definitely. I think, you know, considering that we only have 2 months left in this year, and to your point of there not being a lot of opportunity, perhaps, it might be a good litmus, like to see how much of a desire and how much that changes things. It might be these 2.5 months can tell us whether or not that would have an impact. It might encourage someone to build. It might encourage a property transfer. We don't know, but it could give us that window to have a little more data, a little more understanding of what difference that would make without a big commitment of 1.5 years. And I'd be open to Mayor O'Connor's comments to wordsmithing this to massage it so that we're all comfortable with it, so that it applies to who and what we want as a group.
Are there any other comments and questions? Councillor Lightfoot.
Just looking at the wording critically, I think it's somewhat misleading for someone that's not familiar with our process, where it says they would have a grant to cover $20,000. I think it's that the builder would be reimbursed for an amount up to $20,000 to cover the archaeology bills. I know it's sticky, but I think we have to be really specific when we offer something so that there's no fuzzy lines and that people are clear. I would suggest maybe this, I'm not going to do it, but I would suggest that perhaps maybe we want to table it and bring it back with tighter wording. Because at this point, otherwise I will not support it in its present form. Thank you.
Okay, Kat, did you have?
I was going to just suggest possibly that perhaps council could direct staff to bring back maybe a more specific worded motion to the next council meeting for council's consideration.
So we have a motion on the floor right now, so maybe we will vote on it and then we will.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah. If there's no other comments or questions right now.
May I withdraw my motion or make a friendly amendment? Is that what I would say? Amend the
I
motion?
think this is bigger though than just a friendly amendment.
I do not. Actually, I'd like to see this tabled today because we have till December 2025 for this grant criteria. So I'm
It's usually when you're not changing the intent of it.
I am not. I'm changing the word cover to reimburse. As per Lightfoot's.
Oh, okay.
Councillor Lightfoot's comments. So it would be from EMCR of the archaeology grant criteria to reimburse up to $20,000 of archaeology costs for all properties in property owners in Lytton as per previous criteria or something to that effect. If somebody wants to help me wordsmith it, I'd really like to put it on the table tonight.
I don't know that I'm not, maybe I'll ask the advice of Corporate Officer Storchenko. I don't know that we want to be wordsmithing it here. A friendly amendment's one thing, but.
Yeah, a friendly amendment would be fine, but yeah, if it's going to be too much, it would be better to bring it back. Or even just vote on this and then bring another one forward. So you could just do another motion right now. But you'd have to vote on this one first.
Because it's already tabled, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will withdraw the request for a friendly amendment.
Okay, so we will vote on this motion. It's on the table. So all those in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Councillor Toss, and opposed? And Councillor McCann, Michelle, myself, and you froze, Jezawa, so I don't know what you did. Oh, okay, you froze. Thank you. Okay.
May I then, as per CAO member Ket's suggestion, propose that I put another motion on the table to direct staff to bring back a motion more specific to the intention of this previous motion.
Okay, and a seconder for that motion? I'll second. So are there any further comments or questions regarding that?
I think it should be just more focused on contacting EMCR first, because we don't even know what they're going to say.
Good point.
Like, why are we worried about the criteria when we don't know what EMCR is going to say? So just to direct staff to.
Would that be something?
Councillor Toss?
So I don't know that I put that, well, I actually tabled that motion, but that might be a better motion to put forward tonight. Is that,
So do you want to withdraw your
I will
motion?
withdraw, the staff brings back a more specific wording for the motion going forward, and put on the table what Councillor Michelle has spoken to, that staff approach EMCR to see if extending the criteria to include all property owners
Or even changing the criteria.
is
Let's leave it
an
at that.
okay, is open to changing the criteria. Thank you.
Okay, so now we have a new motion on the floor. We got to get that, CO Starchenko, and the seconder, please, for that.
Second.
Councillor McCann, are there any further comments or questions? Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay,
Thank you,
good.
Councillor Michelle.
And I'll just keep it with you for the next.
Well, this one's fairly simple. It's just to extend basically on our existing initiatives around amenity space in the village, and a wonderful new pocket park structure, which delights me every time I see somebody pull over and have a sandwich and go to the bathroom. But I think one thing that would improve these public amenity spaces would be water fountains. This is supported by, again, I know it's anecdotal, but I've had residents come by and actually stop unsolicited, not knowing that it's my thing, and say, hey, you know what we really need is a water fountain in the village. And then watching the kids come out of the bathroom there at the new pocket park structure, I noticed there was a little bit of disorganization around the water supply. I think it would be really nice to have two seasonal water fountains in town. And obviously it's a health issue as well. It's important if you're exercising and in the heat. So being that we're already putting in and we're pushing it to next spring, the mister, it would be a nice adjunct to put in there at the same time. So those are my comments. The motion is that council directs staff to install a minimum of 2 permanent seasonal water fountains, with one at Pocket Park and one at O'Dwyer Park.
Thank you. A seconder.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Michelle. Questions, comments regarding this motion that is put forward? We lost Councillor Lightfoot. There she is. She's back again. We have just put the motion forward regarding the and seconded regarding the water fountains. And so do you have a comment, Councillor Lightfoot?
I would prefer that there was no location identified in the motion, just so that, you know, maybe it will be in Spintland Memorial Park, maybe it'll be somewhere else, depending on water projects and such. I think staff could come to us and ask for approval of locations they suggest. I just think staff should be involved in the decision too.
Thank you. Other comments? Councillor McCann?
My other comment was about the, there's a grant that's been applied for in a plan for working with the park anyway. I'm not sure that this could be included as part of that plan, but that'd be nice if it could. But also if it couldn't, what I think would be helpful is what Councillor Light was describing, is a report to come from staff regarding the installation of water fountains, what it would require, how much it would cost, the kind of water that needs to be available, the conflicting potential, and then suggesting places. And then if there's a price attached to that, then we can know if it's able to be funded by the village, or if an organization might be approached to fundraise to cover the costs or something like that. So I agree with the idea of water fountains, but I prefer to have the complete report, because we're assuming a lot here that we may or may not know.
Thank you, Councillor McCann. Councillor Toss?
Thank you, Mayor O'Connor. I concur actually with Councillor, missing the councillor part, but Councillor Lightfoot's comments, and actually Councillor McCann's as well, around staff time and the report, the report to council and what exactly this will all entail. I'd be willing to vote on this, and then should it be
voted down, I'd reintroduce it, taking out the pocket park locations or any location. As far as the report to council about the cost and the placement, and like, I think it's great that Public Works can come back and suggest locations, but to the, when we talk about staff time, writing a huge report around the feasibility of a water fountain doesn't feel like a good use of staff time. So I'm thinking a very general, it's like a very abridged version on where a location would be. We've heard from Kevin Bielak, our water operator, that it's actually quite a simple procedure. The ARC plan was what he was saying we need, and then we just pretty much put one in. So I think I would suggest we vote on this, and then because it's already been tabled, and then reintroduce it should it be defeated, taking out the locations and requesting that staff come back to us with proposed locations.
So before we vote, are there any other comments or questions? Councillor Lightfoot? Or sorry, Councillor McCann.
Not the same, that's good.
This is, because it's seasonal, because it's like, you could plan for it now and install it. It's not gonna get installed till spring anyway. Like, I can't imagine this happening before spring. So there's a little bit of time in essence to get this done. And so that gives us the opportunity to do it well and to do it right. That's just my comment there. Say there's no rush this through.
I'd like to comment as well. And again, I found this motion too prescriptive, too, and I think Councillor Lightfoot and Councillor McCann explained that well. I would like to see some kind of a plan come forward for all of our parks. I was curious about water fountains in other communities. And so I did reach out to a couple of mayors, neighboring mayors. And I asked, so one of them said that they have never had a water fountain in their community except at their swimming pool, but it was changed over to a bottle fill.
Yes,
right?
That's what I would.
Yeah, bottle fill. And then I reached out to, or another one responded and said, yes, at their public washrooms, their permanent public washrooms, they have a permanent water fountain. She called it a fountain, not a fill station, but it's at a place where it can be maintained and watched and all of those kind of things, because it's in a wash, the municipal building, right? Public washrooms. And then I started thinking myself, because, I've been really, personally, I've been kind of back and forth on the shade structure going in, and then the public washrooms going in, all these things. And we got water. We have a pipe stand there that is chlorinated drinkable water that you can fill a bottle with. So I don't know what the rush is to get a water fountain in. I'm not against them, but I would love to see it in a plan. I'd love to have it coordinated. That's my opinion. CIO member.
So I have a suggestion for a slightly different motion. But do you want me to wait till you vote on this one?
Call this one.
Let's vote for them
Okay.
first then. Okay, if there's no other comments or questions, all those in favor? Opposed? And defeated.
Sometimes things make sense.
Okay.
And so what if we went in a direction of something, direct staff to include water fountains in parks planning to be installed in spring of 2026 or summer of 2020, something like that, because we are working on a parks plan that includes more than just water fountains. And to Councillor McCann's point, we have lots of time to finish it and bring it back and plan to start in the spring. So maybe something like that that's a little bit more generic and lets us do the planning, but still addresses Councillor Toss's strong desire to have water fountains next summer, or water dispensing units, whatever it ends up being by next summer.
Councillor.
Thank you to CAO Momberket's suggestion. I'd like to put a motion on the table to direct staff to include water fountains in the planning, in future park planning, or water. What did you say?
Water dispensers.
Yeah, a water distribution.
Water distribution system.
So to direct staff to include a public water distribution system in park planning.
All, sorry, seconder, Councillor McCann, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. I don't know what Jezebel voted.
That's what I need to raise.
But she's not saying anything.
It's carried. Okay. And we will continue.
Okay, I, we won't do this to you folks again. Or myself. So the last notice of motion I brought forward in the last meeting was around the community planter program. Living in the village now, I see some residents have taken it upon themselves to gentrify the fronts of their properties with these planters that may or may not have been there before, I'm not sure, but they are there now. I think without having plants in them, they are a bit of an eyesore around the village. There's a lot just empty, sort of sad and desolate. I anticipate Public Works or, staff coming back and saying, well, these, and it's my understanding that they are protecting some liability. So there's holes that they're over or wires and some such things. I might suggest that that is another area we need to address sooner than later. However, I don't think that impacts this motion insofar as there are so many liabilities in town, like so many holes and areas, tripping hazards, that it's really a moot point that these planters really fix the problem. It's negligible how much impact they have on keeping our feet safe. So I think that they would be much better employed in front of people's homes, being maintained by those people. I might suggest, I haven't put it in the motion, but I might suggest should an owner invest in a potting soil that they would be reimbursed. I don't know, that could be something we could look at another time, but it would involve staff moving those planters on a first come, first served basis to people's homes and allowing them to gentrify or beautify our community with minimal staff time.
So you're putting a motion forward.
That is the motion. The motion is that council direct staff to make village planters available on request on a first come, first served basis to homeowners who wish to maintain them.
And a seconder for that motion? Second. Thank you. I'm going to speak to this one first. Once again, the way the way the motion is written kind of gets in the weeds, no pun intended there. Asking us to vote on telling staff what to do and how bothers me. So I don't support this motion the way it's written, although I support the intent of it. I don't support this motion. I will move to anyone else who would like to make a comment. Councillor McCann.
Once again, you have lots of time to do this better. This is not something that's going to happen now. We're not going to be getting people planting plants in November. Trust me, they will not do that. So it's something that could happen in the spring. It's something that could be part of a plan. It's something that could be addressed by staff as a part of the spring cleanup of the town, that you want this to be included in any springtime planning that's going to go on with Public Works, that then you could have the winter to get people lined up and know that they want it. So that would be possibly the thing you could do in the winter time. So just, that's all my point is there.
Councillor Toss.
Thank you. It's my last comment on this. To your point, it's actually funny that you said that, because I had a resident who watches our meetings and saw me put these notice of motions on the table and said, well, you just make sure that that happens before winter so that we can plant now for the spring. So I actually just,
Must be.
well, you can put bulbs in, whatever you want, right? But I think you're right. It might not all happen at once, but I think if somebody wants to start that project now, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to.
Other comments? Councillor Lightfoot.
Unmuted here, there. I'm just curious. So I have a bit of a problem with the first come, first serve. Because, obviously anybody that's at this meeting or watching tonight is going to be the first knowable. So I think there needs to be a lead time if it's going to be first come, first serve. My experience with planters are you don't plant anything in there that you're going to have live over the winter. Nothing's going to live in a planter over the winter. But my main question was, is this like the village is giving the planters to the people, or is it a loan? At some time, at some point, if the village has a, I don't know, say the chamber or some citizen group decides they want to beautify the town and they have a better plan for those planters, can we bring them back in and distribute them in a more logical or formal way? So I go back to what Councillor McCann said, there's really no rush. I think it needs to, I mean, in the next few months, maybe we can get a firm number on how many planters there are. We can make it known that they are available with this outcome or whatever. So I can't support it at this time. I think it's premature, but it's good to get it started.
Yeah, Member Kent.
I was just going to say again, I think this is another topic that would be, might be appropriate for council to direct staff to come back with a plan that would include, answering some of these questions, but still getting to the intent of the motion.
Councillor Thomas.
Thank you. And I appreciate that because I think maybe Public Works has a plan that we might not be aware of, right? So I don't know exactly what the intention has been. And to your point, like telling staff to that micromanaging, right? So, but also on the other hand, this isn't a big deal, you guys. This isn't like we're voting on an $860,000 architect. We're talking about moving a planter across town. So this is not a gift to residents. In my initial motion, I did say that could be withdrawn at any time. I think we massaged that out of it. But the idea was that it's still at the Village of Lytton's property and it's on public property. It's just like it was pre-fire, maintained by the public. Having said that, I'm perfectly happy to table this and have staff come back with what they would like to see happen.
Okay, so we do have the motion on the floor, so why don't we vote on it unless there are further comments? All those in favor of the motion? Aye. And opposed? And the motion is defeated. And so
I would like to reintroduce or propose another motion if council and mayor so entertain, and that would be that council directs staff to bring back information on what the intention is with the plan. A plan for the projects. Yeah.
thank you.
And maybe quantify how many are there.
A seconder? That motion, Councillor McCann. Any further comments or questions? Councillor Toss.
Sorry, thank you. So, Storoshenko, would you mind reading the motion back? I think it got kind of jumbled there. Please.
I think it just says that council directs staff to bring back a plan for the planter relocation. That's kind of what I have at the moment. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
That council directs staff to bring back more information on
More information, okay.
more information on the status of the planters.
A plan for a resident planter program.
What's that?
Let's
like
say
the big
that.
house. Plan for a resident planter program.
Planter program, okay.
Thank you. And I do appreciate that we need that lead time, right? Councillor Lytton, so that everybody would have an equitable opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor of that motion?
Need a seconder.
Oh, no, Councillor McCann seconded, yes. So again, all those in favor, show of hands and carried.
Yes.
All right. So that brings us to the end of this special council meeting. It's not a regular one. Special regular. We are going to be moving into closed meeting, so we need a motion to move into closed. Thank you, and a seconder.
Seconded, Toss.
Councilor Tross, all those in favor? And carried, and I'm going to turn it back over to Corporate Officer Storoshenko.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. So that concludes the public portion of the special council meeting of September 18th. We ask that the public and staff please remove yourself from the meeting as we go into the closed session. Thank you for attending and have a wonderful night. And I invite council to take a short recess while I reset the meeting to close.